right. Ready? Everybody ready? Bill's ready? I'm ready?
Ready.
All right. All right, I call this Committee of the Whole meeting in Mon County Commission Chambers 243 High Street on the second floor of Morgantown, West Virginia 26505 on this Tuesday, April 30th, 2024 at 7 p.m. in Morgantown to order. All right, the first thing today, if our own Nikki LaFour would please come up, we have our Citizens Academy graduation, which I believe I will be presenting the awards. What will be the best way, having everyone line up, or should we call them one by one? One by one? All right, I'm gonna remove my seat and head on down here. Okay, can you all hear me at home? I think you're listening on YouTube, right? Okay, they waved. Excellent. For those of you watching at home right now on YouTube, I think the camera's this way. Okay. For those watching at home, we have our Citizens Academy, which provides the opportunity for many of our Morgantown area residents to come and learn how our government works. And we are proud to present these certificates today to those that were given the opportunity and excelled and graduated from our Citizens Academy. The first we would like to welcome is Tony Antonini. Our best lighting right here. And then, did you have anything you wanted to tell the public about the citizens? No pressure.
Sure.
Then step up to the mic.
Sure. First, this is going to be repeated several times from anyone who comes up, but Nikki is really a crown jewel of this city, and I mean that, and on behalf of all of us, for the guidance and the friendship and the coaching, thank you very much. Don't ever stop this program. I had the opportunity to grow up in Morgantown, and until recently, I lived everywhere from Tucker County to Orange County, California, and I moved back in August. And if Citizens Academy did one thing, it really just made me fall in love with my city again. And I just want to say thank you very much for that. So
That's
thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Our surfing may not be as good as Orange County, but we have really nice kayaks and great rivers. All right, and also, before I can pronounce this name, no problem. If I pronounce your name wrong, please correct me as a Muhammad Abu Ghanem. I have experienced mispronunciations quite a bit, and I won't be offended for you letting me know I said it wrong. Next, we have Francesca Basil. Yeah, all right.
I'll just say I really enjoyed it and met a lot of great people. Thank you very much.
Sean Christensen. And smile goes.
I'm good.
You're good.
I just moved here last year from Los Angeles, giant city, to this essentially small rural town comparatively, but this is it's a really cool place and great people all around, and I'm happy to call it home now.
That's great.
Emma Crow-Willard? Yep, all right.
Don't let her play second base.
Great. Well, this has been such an awesome opportunity. Thank you, everyone who has been part of that, all of the different city departments and employees that we met. It was just amazing to have such an opportunity to learn about how the city works and the priorities and get more involved. I also just moved here from Denver, and so I told my family, I was like, I'm doing this cool Morgantown Citizens Academy thing and learning all about the city, and they're like, oh yeah, Denver has that too. And I was like, oh, I've had no idea. So I was so excited to have, even a smaller city like Morgantown to be able to have this great opportunity. So thank you to everyone who has made it possible.
And welcome from the Morgantown of the West, even though we call us Denver of the East. James DeGoye.
I guess we're all doing something then, huh? All right. Yeah. So me and my wife, we just moved here from Phoenix, Arizona. We've been here for about a year now. So this has been a real pleasure to get this, like a behind-the-scene look to see how the town runs, and yeah, these great people. So thank you for having me.
Irene Dunsavage.
Yes, she did.
All right, fantastic. We'll get the smile together. There you are.
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to say? No
Yeah,
pressure.
just a few- No pressure, okay.
In the future, I always have to follow with no
No.
pressure.
I moved here from New Jersey about 3 years ago, and it had so much to offer me because I'm an artist, and so the land was wonderful and everything, but there was something missing, and that missing was really getting to meet people. And this was the way to do it, and it was the way to really get to know what the town is all about and to know how hard it is to run a town like this. And that's what I want to say.
Kevin Hamrick.
Just like to thank everyone for the program. Nikki, most of all, our fearless leader. And I think it's very important in a age where we pull back and digitize and often, live in the virtual world, that we put people in rooms together and really create some transparency behind the works. And I'd just like to thank everybody for just allowing that to happen.
Catherine Madison.
What I want to mention is that after almost 30 years of living here, I've learned how the city works. That's really cool. I love nuts and bolts, how things work. But to me, it's the kind of people that wanted to be in this who distinguished the group. And I don't want to let go. I want you guys forever. I just want to keep meeting. It's the kind of people who care, give a crap, want to show up, and do something to make it a better city. And they're not going to be in the other classes or the other groups. They're going to be in this one. So I thank you all. I'm really so happy I got to spend some time with you.
Ryan Ratcliffe.
I would just like to say it was really awesome to see how the city can come together and be collaborative. There's a lot of moving parts to what all Morgantown has to offer, and I think people oftentimes forget about that and really forget about the fact that we're all just humans. So it brought a little bit of that humanity to the cause, and I just want to say thank you for opening up the doors and being transparent with us and how the government works. I think it's really important nowadays, and it's not done enough. So, good kudos to you guys.
Great. Thank you.
Charles Sims.
Thank you. I'd like to say thank you to Nikki and the city of Morgantown for this opportunity. I moved here to go to WVU back in and I never left. So I think, though I've been able to travel and visit a lot of places, I keep coming back here. And so Morgantown is my home now. And I've enjoyed the opportunity to be able to learn about more, as others have said, the behind the scene things that are going on. Best thing I learned is that the Star City facility processes 12 million gallons a day of sewage. And I just, wow. I felt like
Dennis Smith.
You got that wrong.
Yeah, honestly, that was the one I was struggling with.
I'd just like to say it was a great experience. I really enjoyed it. I found out all the things that the city does for us and how they have to struggle to get things right. And I think the thing that impressed me was the assistant city manager's handling of a jar of peanut butter.
Guess we'll have to get that story later.
She
smashed it.
Really?
Yeah, she smashed it.
Nancy
I'm here.
Wasson.
Wasn't very good.
Thank you so much.
I'd just like to say thank you also to everyone, to Nikki, to the city. It's been a great experience, and I have lived here for decades. And it's just been wonderful to really see how the city works. And I want to just commend all the various departments, divisions, et cetera, for their willingness to work together. Everything has been very collaborative, and if there is a problem, we'll figure it out. And we now know a lot of people to go to if we have it. But I think it will be all fine, so we appreciate it. Thank you again.
And then, Nikki, do you have anything you want to say? Also, I just want to express my gratitude to Nikki, who leads a lot of meetings that I've attended. They're always extremely enjoyable. I take lessons from her in her meetings, and I try to teach them with my students. They still fall asleep sometimes, but that's only because I tend to talk too much.
As a longtime Morgantown resident, like Charlie, I came here to go to WVU and never left. So I've been here since 1999. I'm new to the city. I've been around Morgantown in various positions. I started as the special projects coordinator in September, and this was a great learning opportunity for me too, because there's so many moving parts, and sometimes you have to be around a long time to figure that out. But with this opportunity to both help citizens learn about what we do, and for me to learn deeper what we do, and just provide those moments of connection and team building and transparency, it's the favorite project I've done so far. And you guys are a huge part of that. Thank you so much.
All right. Next, we have a youth council proposal. This is actually by me to all of you. I have a PowerPoint up, if you would be so kind. All right. And if you hit play in the top left, right, up one. All right, thank you. All right, this is my Morgantown Youth Commission. This is a proposal. I'm sure you all have sat here as I've had students come in and talk. And I think this will, right? Or does this not work?
Apparently not.
Apparently not? All right. Thank you. I'll try to, okay. So one of the things that I took away from our National League of Cities was they had the different youth commissions. So when we got back, I went through some of their guidelines and everything like that. And it's actually something that they recommend, which here is your brief history on the youth commission. We actually had one already here in Morgantown in 2009. It evolved in 2013 and became the Greater Morgantown Area Youth Advisory Committee, in which Boat Park ended up taking it over. I had several conversations and emails with Mel, who gave me the entire history behind it. This was overseen by Bow Park, and it was an opportunity to establish their engagement with the younger participants in terms of finding out what it is kids actually wanted from their parks and recreation. And then I wanted to add in there that the National League of Cities does encourage youth commissions and outreach programs, and they actually have outlines for several different styles of commissions. What I'm presenting to you today is not something that's like set in stone, but is something that I would hope maybe with everybody's here encouragement we could follow through on and see happen. Whoops, what I hit? I hit stop video. There we go. All right. So with this, there would be goals, and the goals would include bringing visibility and attention to the younger residents. As an asset, they would be to our established city commissions, because if you all are like me with the Sister Cities Commission, we're trying to find a bunch of younger kids to participate and help with our outreach as it relates to like cultural days and things of that nature. Bow Park as well has asked about the benefits that they could have from it, and I'll get into detail about that here shortly. There's the experience in which we can create a government experience with our future voters and participants. Similar to the class that we had here today, it'll give a lot of our younger kids an opportunity to learn more about government and how it works. Investing in terms of helping our future adults feel invested in their community. One of the best things we can do is, instead of having everyone move here to go to school and decide to stay, maybe we can get those that already live here decide not to leave. And then the last thing is the idea of advocating and providing a platform to our younger residents. And obviously that would be guided through discussion, but not micromanaged, because we want them to be able to feel like they have a platform in which to speak for themselves and things they'd like to see in and around our city. So the commission makeup, my goal here would be to have 7 students, 1, possibly 2 educators, current or former, to help guide these discussions with the group, and then a council member as a liaison. The goal would be to have us select the sitting committee members, as we would for any commission, with the ages of 14 to 18 being the goal. I understand that I am Morgantown high in terms of the kids that I frequently run into, but I would rather have it be open to all city resident students or any student that attends one of our city schools. So if they live and go to school for, say, Mountaineer Middle and end up at University High School, that wouldn't prevent them from being a part of it. But if they live in Cheat Lake and go to Morgantown High School, that would also not prevent them from being a part of it. And then obviously they would be established with bylaws, and it would be an open meeting, hopefully to encourage additional young residents to attend, participate, and get involved more actively within the community. With our meetings, the goal would be to have them monthly, structured to be determined by the inaugural group. We would correspond with other boards and commissions, providing assistance when sought. So when Bow Park is planning to build something, or they're looking for summer events, or they're trying to find out what it is the kids are interested in, this will give them a group that they can go to find out directly from the source. And then maintaining an agenda with minutes as well, just so that they understand the importance of government and how it operates. Then we also have the benefits of this in terms of strengthening our standing within the National League of Cities, because they had entire sections of the program that were dedicated to this. It would strengthen a lot of our youth outreach. We're always talking about how we want to get younger people involved and bringing attention to their experiences, which is something that we tend to overlook on accident because we only know those that are in our bubble. It also allows the additional perspective of the Morgantown experience in terms of what they're seeing, what they want to see more of or less of, and it creates a government learning experience and opportunity for everybody involved. Is someone talking or am I talking? Okay, I'm talking. All right. Then we have future opportunities, and that would be the ability to access and establish this advisory commission. In other words, people could go to the commission to get advice on stuff they'd like to see. Channels to engage with younger people in terms of being able to have a direct source. Trending interests, so sources of ideas. A lot of the kids have no idea what's going on in and around our community. When I asked them directly, I said, are you aware of our summer concert series or our summer movie series? They couldn't tell me what they were. And I said, a lot of it's on Facebook. I use TikTok.
Not for long.
Wow, that's neither here nor there. I personally don't use TikTok because I I believe I am also too old for that. And then there's the tailored advertising and promoting in relation to how we can get this stuff out to them. The other thing with this in terms of channels to engage with young people, Bell Park has a hard time apparently hiring some of their summer jobs. So it creates an opportunity for us to have a pool of young students that are looking for summer work, and we could use that as a channel to engage with them and provide them other opportunities and experiences. And I know I keep saying Bow Park and Sister Cities, but that's only because what I'm familiar with, and I would love to have them be involved in any and all, whether it's traffic commission, safety walks, or something like along those avenues and Deckers Creek and all of that. Any questions for me? I know I spoke quickly.
How would we recruit the kids for this?
Yeah, so I guess the first part would be if we're able to establish it, I would do the recruiting similar to how we do recruiting for our commissions and stuff now, through our neighborhood associations, just through having these conferences in which we can advertise and promote to the public. I would be able to recruit, obviously, kids through the high school. I have several friends from different schools in and around the area. Woodburn has their own homeschool, as I understand, right? Or
There's a homeschool group at the Woodburn Community Complex, and there's a teen group through that.
see, and then that would be another way for everybody to collaborate.
How long ago was this previously active?
Do you know exactly? Do you know 2019? I think is the number. Although
I don't think it.
Mayor Celine may know because she was the one that told me.
There was activity, and I do know that there were concerns, and one of the reasons why Bow Park took it over was to more focus it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think probably some of the difficulties that they experienced had to do with COVID in those circumstances. I appreciate where you're coming from, and I certainly do encourage these kinds of activities. My concern is what you expect the outcome to be, given the fact that kids are worried about being in school, worried about doing their homework, wanting to play sports and participate in activities outside. I'm thinking that we really need to have something that's attractive, and we also need to have administration that will be able to support it. And I'm not necessarily talking about our administration, but I am talking about appropriate people, as you had mentioned, you thought in terms of some of your fellow teachers. But it's worth more conversation, but at this moment to evaluate it, you've thrown an awful lot at us. I'd like a little more time to think it through.
And this is not for something to be put on the agenda by any means. More or less, because I've been the only one thinking about it. I wanted to present this so that I can get ideas from all of you. Because I know I've thrown it around to Mayor Celine, and I know I've had kids come in here and present before. But I did want this to be something to start working towards as an opportunity. And so I felt like this was a good opportunity to kind of begin that conversation.
We
similar
know
to how we
we
did.
know that all good ideas need a champion, so welcome.
All right.
Very good, thank you.
Good.
Have you engaged with any kids about like this idea? You
Yep.
know what I mean, and like gotten feedback from them and sort of.
Yes. So part of one of the classes I teach is business marketing essentials, which is basically ethics in workplace and government and how they correspond. And so this was a big point of conversation in terms of what it is that they think kids would be good at advising on, whether it was entertainment, public safety. The other one was, we had a whole list of different things. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now, but I'm happy to get it for you. But we have discussed it. A lot of the kids are interested in it because we have a large student body that's interested in government. I think the Student Government Association has something like 30 or 40 kids. And we have a lot of kids that don't do sports. And with it being only one day a month and only 7 kids, my hope was we get an ideal dedicated 7.
There's kids at Morgantown High that are Model UN, so there's some government nerds that that are there. But
Government advocates.
nerd's not a pejorative anymore, but no, I think it's a good idea. Maybe an idea that I think comes to mind is having kind of like we do with strategic planning and things like that, where we have more community focus. Maybe help if kids got together and said exactly built this thing themselves and told us what would make kids excited about coming to something like this. I'm sure it'd be more enticing if their meetings didn't exactly look like this,
Right.
and were a lot less boring. Maybe ask them what they would like to see. I think maybe a good,
And so that's one of the
First
other
step.
reasons I'm here too. Is you have a kid, right? I want, and you have a kid, and we all have someone that we
Let's
know
go to
that could come up
college.
with several ideas and options for me to be able to go to them with. Because I don't want, that's why I said I can't remember the slide. It said guiding instead of managing. I don't want them to be micromanaged. I want them to be guided through their discussion so that it can be something that they are excited to participate with. But anyways, this is just the beginning of an idea. And I just wanted to present it to you all.
Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you for sitting and listening through me. Oh,
I had a comment, if this is the right moment.
yep.
I just really appreciate
How do I-
you taking
Just
the
hit stop sharing.
And you were being super attentive at the National League of Cities meetings and making a point of picking up with all the groups. There were hundreds of students in Washington, D.C. that were there at National League of Cities as parts of youth missions and were participating, were going to sessions and just learning about government and how cities can be more effective. And I think it's, if Joe has energy for this, if he can find a few good partners and he further develops it with all of you, I would be all behind it. It's the kind of thing, just like the graduates of the academy that you were just looking at, the more that we can have some outreach and have people learn how government works, the more they'll be inspired and contribute to it. So I'm in, but I know it needs to be further developed, but I'm in.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Okay.
Sure.
Unless there are any more questions. Nope. All right. Next, we have a presentation by our parking authority on the parking garage rate setting and blue curb permits for short-term rentals.
Good evening, counselors and city manager. I appreciate the time that you're giving me to speak here tonight. I also want to thank Ryan. He's been helping me work through and clean up some of the older codes that we have, just to make sure that they are up to today's standards. A couple of things that I do want to present to you all tonight are some ideas that we have talked about in-house as far as the parking authority themselves, and get your feedback to see what your thoughts were. So I'm just going to, and I apologize for the crude sheets you have there, but I'll go over them one by one, and if you have questions, then we'll jump to the next. So as we're talking about mainly parking permits tonight, the one thing that I would like to suggest to you all is the possibility of allowing the parking authority to take the parking permit prices and have a 20% more or less added to the permit prices as the market allows. When I say that, there's several, as you saw in your package, there's several different places within the city of Morgantown that offer monthly parking passes. Sometimes we're a little higher, sometimes we're a little lower, it just depends, but we do try to check around every year to see what the going rate is. Now, I understand the goal behind the passes and the funds that are collected from the parking authority is to try to keep our prices as low as possible, to be fair, but as high as possible so that we meet our budget projections. So I get that, but what I'm looking at is we've been a little over 10 years since we've actually looked at permit prices for the parking garage, so they haven't changed. They've always remained the same, at least for the last 10 years. So my thought was, as we call each year and as we look around and try to keep, again, as fair as possible with the parking permit prices, if the parking authority had the ability, to have that 20% either way, it's just something that we've been talking about and something that I wanted to bring to you and get your thoughts on. So before I go into the next one, see what your thoughts on that one first.
Have the number of permits sold gone significantly up or down as our costs have remained?
They fluctuate each year, and it's interesting as we watch the permits. This year we may sell 1,000 more residential permits than we did last year, or we may sell 1,000 more parking permits for the garages this year than we did. It fluctuates. It's really interesting to watch, and there's no rhyme or reason why it really happens that way. We have not, I will say this, over the last 3 years, we've not sold out in the parking garages with the parking permits. We allocate X amount for each garage, and the rest is left open for, your daily transits. So it fluctuates. I can't really give you a definitive answer as far as supply and demand goes.
And you're looking not just for the ability to adjust garage permits, but any of the permits that would be like blue curb permits. And
No, this would just be for the parking garages.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Blue curb. We've already got that established.
I'm curious why why did you alight on the 20% up or down, and why not just simply? I'm assuming that you're telling me that we have been consistent over the past years,
Mm-hmm.
and there's been fluctuation within that time, but you've not adjusted in any manner?
Correct.
And what you're doing now is you're looking to make this more market compatible?
Yes. Not only market compatible, but again, if I call around to the different folks that offer the permits and they're selling permits at $90 a month for a 24-hour permit, and we're doing $115 a month, then why are you guys charging so much more than everybody else? Those types of things. And again, we have to keep them at a rate where we're going to be able to meet our budget projections. But if we have the ability to fluctuate, even $5 or $10 a month, that's big to some people.
I might be incorrect, but I was under the impression that a good bit of our pricing was based on the bonds that built the building.
Originally, yes, that's correct.
And there was some restrictions because of that.
Yes.
That's,
but those bonds are paid for.
So that's no longer a consideration. What you're
Correct.
looking to be is more market compatible. Why is it you chose 20%?
I don't necessarily know that I have an answer for that, but it seemed like I don't really see it fluctuating much more than that either way. I really don't. As far as what our research has shown with the different lots in the area, we're really not that far off year to year. And if it was going to be something that would be a major change, I think it's something it'd be and the ball would be in you guys' court to make that decision.
Do you find, this is all your business and perhaps really doesn't require our oversight, but do you find one area more attractive than another that you would price differently between areas?
Right now, the University Avenue parking garage and the Spruce Street garage are both the same. The Wharf parking garage is a little bit lower on the monthly permits due to the location. The downtown parking garages in the center of the downtown are the ones that are used the most. We try to make the wharf garage a little more attractive with the price. There's, I think, a $15 a month price difference in the wharf parking garage, which we do get quite a few folks that do park down there, especially if you're not needing your car every day, if it's a long-term parking, so we try to use that garage for that. But our downtown garages, no, they would remain the same because they're equally used.
Well,
Now,
thank
we have more nighttime use in the University Avenue garage than we do the Spruce garage, but as far as daytime, you know, they're about the same.
Good.
All right. The next thought, as we're looking at Blue Curb and back to Blue Curb, and this is not an adjustment on numbers, and we're not following the DMV either, but we're looking at the possibility of offering a 2-year permit for permanent residents. Instead of them having to come every year, you would only have to come in every other year. And this would be, as I said, it's permanent. It's not going to be for rentals. It's folks that, you know, reside in Morgantown year-round, year after year. And we do have the abilities through documents to prove that they are permanent residents. So that's just something that I wanted to throw out there to you. I think it would be a benefit for the city. Folks, you know, they get a little flustered sometimes when it comes that time of year and trying to remember when to get their permits. You know, we have a whole process that we go through to try to get folks in here on time and give a lot of leniency. We give 30 days to get them in here and get it taken care of, warnings, those types of things. But I think it would be nice. It's just a nice offering to the community, is my thought process. Maybe you all see it a little different. I'm not sure.
Well, let me jump in again. I totally agree that it would be certainly more convenient. We do offer that with vehicle registration. I do think, to some degree, I don't know how you plan to administer since you base your year on the color of the permit that's displayed. And then the color of the color of the permit also indicates the area in which they are permitted.
Mm-hmm.
You given thought to that?
We have, which the permanent residents, if they choose to do 2-year, it would be which we would know internally, but it would be a different color than the ones that go year to year. So you would have essentially 2 different colors in each neighborhood.
Very good.
Is parking permitting, are people able to apply for that through the new City Works? Like we can get other permits through that?
Currently, no.
Might be easier for people than having to come in and.
And I have more on permits in the future, but right now this is the one we're looking at.
The other thing I've heard over a period of time is visitors to a neighborhood, for example, for a book club or for a bridge game or what have you, having visitors within the neighborhood at that particular time. We've worked out a permit for those permit, and that's simply a phone call to you in order to
Yes,
get that?
they can call us, take care of it over the phone, and our guys will deliver the permits to them if they so choose, or they can just swing by the office and pick them up that way. But yeah,
And
those are already in the ordinance for
And
those.
there is a limit, 5?
5, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
That sounds like a good idea, Dana.
Excellent. And the next item that we have run into over the last year are Airbnbs. We've never dealt with those before. Currently, to our knowledge anyway, there's at least 8. We have them on High Street, there's some in South Park, there's some in the Sunnyside District, and it seems like there's more and more coming. So we don't currently have a permit for those, but what I would recommend, and I think we could do this, and Ryan would have to confirm, is offer this as a non-resident permit that we currently already have. Under the non-resident permits, we have business permits, and we have, it's business permits and landlord permits, which they're $50 a year, where a normal permit would be $20 a year. But with this particular permit, as far as the the landlords or the others is it gives them ability to park anywhere within the city as far as residential goes, not downtown. But if you have an apartment, if a landlord has an apartment in Sunnyside, he can use it there. If he has an apartment over in South Park, he can use it there. And it gives them that flexibility. Now, what we were thinking with Airbnbs, it would be essentially the same as a business permit because it is a business. And we would do the $50 a year fee as we do currently now with all the other businesses. That was my thinking, or our thinking. But
And how many would that buy?
one. That
One
gives you
permit?
one. Mhm. Now, if they want multiples, we could do 2 or 3. We could set a limit. Right now, with our residential permits, you have the option of either 2 permanents and 1 visitor, or in some cases, you can get 3 permanents. So we could follow those guidelines as well if we wanted to do it that way.
And when in Sunnyside, we offer 3 per unit,
Correct, but no visitors pass.
but no visitors.
Now, with Sunnyside, which I'm going to talk about that too, but I will go ahead and incorporate that into the Airbnb as well because we do have one currently in Sunnyside, but we technically don't have a permit to give them for the folks coming because right now it's only set up for folks who are renting or living there full time. So what we were going to propose is to be able to add the Airbnb permit to the Sunnyside district, as well as add a temporary parking permit for those who have rental vehicles. We ran into that a lot over the last few years. Someone's in an accident, they got a rental car, but I don't have a visitor's pass to give you because Sunnyside doesn't have visitor's passes. And there's a reason for that. It's so congested in that area that there's just not, it won't sustain. But the 3 passes work great. But those were the 2 things that we thought about in Sunnyside was to add those 2, an Airbnb and a temporary pass for rental vehicles. But that all falls under the permitting.
Have you had any feedback as to whether or not they feel that's appropriate to their needs in order to conduct an Airbnb?
We have not. What we do currently, to be honest with you, is on High Street makes it easy for us. They just buy a parking permit for the garage, and that's how they use it. But in the residential areas, they've been using a visitor's pass, which technically they're not supposed to do that. But we don't have anything on the books yet either, so there's been some leniency there. Now, I have spoken with code enforcement a little bit as far as the Airbnbs, and they, making sure everybody's registered, and it is what it is, and that works out really well. We just have to come up with some type of permit for them. That's the thing.
Seems well thought out. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that's all I've got.
And how much are our ticket prices now?
They're still $5 for an expired meter ticket, and of course, then we followed the city code on like but expired meter's still $5. It's been $5 for
ever
a long time.
No, that price hasn't gone up.
First-hand experience.
Right.
Dana, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
All right, next we have a presentation, and this is an ordinance providing for the zoning reclassification of certain parcels of real estate in the 4th Ward. Ricky Yeager, Planning and Development Services Director.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor, members of council, City Manager Haas. The proposed ordinance would rezone recently subdivided and consolidated property from an office and institutional district to an R3 multifamily residential district. The request before council is consistent with the zoning classification for a majority of the existing property, and after review, the Planning Commission found it to be consistent with the city's comprehensive land management plan. While the application to subdivide and consolidate the property is shown on the survey plat in your packet on page 19, was approved by the Planning Commission in January. The commission conditioned its approval of the petition that another petition be filed within 6 months to resolve the split lot zoning designation. I'm proud to report that the applicant did just that, and the Planning Commission recommended that the zoning map amendment be approved at its last meeting in March. Staff encourages the council to move this to its next regular meeting on May 7th for further consideration. Thank you.
Don't run away.
Yes, sir.
I'm just curious, what brought this to our attention?
There was the parcels in your packet, and they were highlighted in yellow. There was a need to subdivide that, and then there was a timeliness issue about getting that subdivision reviewed and approved through the Planning Commission, and so that's why the provision was put in place that the subdivision can go through as long as the applicant came back and made sure that the zoning designations were corrected.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Seems like an appropriate use.
Yes, sir.
No comment?
Good?
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
There were no concerns at Planning Commission other than the subdivision created a parcel that had 2 different zones, and we're like, well, we don't like that, so
Right.
we need to fix that, but the use and everything seemed good to go.
Thank you.
If I may add, a lot of before the consolidation happened, that was approved by the Planning Commission, a lot of those were individually zoned lots. Now it's one contiguous lot, which makes it better for redevelopment purposes and for the property owner now in terms of receiving one tax ticket instead of multiple tax tickets for the same property. So it addressed a number of issues up there.
Very good.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Thank you. All right, this closes our section of presentations. Now we open this to a public portion with the rules that are established by council for anyone wishing to speak.
Good evening, council members and City Manager Hawes and Emily and Ryan. This evening, this is Susan Riddle with the Visit Mountaineer Country Convention and Visitors Bureau. I brought Stella Henley. Stella Henley with me. She's one of our destination development coordinators. The reason for our appearance this evening is to present to you the CVB oversight compliance that we file annually. Our agency has been in compliance since those regulations have been in place. It involves us being audited annually, which we have for many years. We've been accredited since 2006, as well as our financial information. And what you have is our annual report, which has a plethora of various and sundry bits and tidbits of information for your review. We have a lot of things going on. Recently, several things actively between the activity involving the Great Race, which is coming this summer, as well as working with Mayor Celine and the Riverfront revitalization. If I'm stating that correctly. And then we were contacted recently about some activities as it pertains to Deckers Creek, and some white water analysis and some other things. So we have a lot of things going on, but we wanted to present this to you this evening in a as timely a manner as possible. So we thank you for your support, and we look forward to coming back again here soon.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, I'll close this public portion. All right. First item up is an ordinance amending, or now we'll open the items for discussion. First, we have an ordinance amending Article 365 of the City Code, providing for off-street parking. You want to come? You want to put it on?
Me again. So basically, we're doing some housekeeping here again with this particular ordinance. It used to be that every space in Morgantown was a meter, had a single space meter. When we went to multi-space meters in the parking lots, it kind of messed the language up of the ordinance. So we need to, we're just looking to get that corrected. Now, what this ordinance mainly pertains to is cars pulling head into parking spaces instead of backing into the spaces. And the reason for, or why that ordinance is on the book and has been for a lot of years, is there are several areas within the city of Morgantown that if a vehicle from West Virginia, because we only have back plates, backs in like up against a wall or into the bushes or whatever the case may be, you can't read the license plate. Plus, we've seen a lot more damage done, to our equipment through the years with folks backing in, those types of things. So this is just a housekeeping that Ryan helped with the language and getting it up to date.
Sounds good.
Great. Move to an agenda?
Yep.
All right, we'll move that to the agenda.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And then the next we have an ordinance providing for the zoning reclassification of parcels of real estate in the 4th Ward as presented just a moment ago by Mr. Yeager.
Move.
To the agenda? To the agenda?
Yep.
All right. And then with that said,
Move to adjourn?
Second.
all right.
Gee whiz.
7:53.
Less than an hour.
Wow.
Mark it down.
Joe, man.
And most of that was
Efficient.
graduation.